Hello, everyone. My name is Jennifer Carroll Foy, and I want to thank you all so much for joining us for Emerge 2021 post-election event. I want to thank Emerge President Ashanti Golar, Emerge's board, the amazing host committee, and event chairs Regina Montoya and Senator Karen Carter-Peterson, and to the Emerge staff who put this amazing event together. I also want to recognize and thank my fellow Emerge sisters and the trailblazing women leaders who will be featured during this evening's program. Tonight, we will celebrate the work Emerge has done, take a look at this year's elections results, and examine what's next for Democratic women in politics. This powerful network has spurred so many women to step forward and lead. As a proud alum myself, I can tell you how transformational the work that Emerge has done really is. In 2017, I went through the Emerge program. It was my first time running for the House of Delegates. No one knew that I was pregnant, and that was intentional. And I'll never forget talking to Julie Copeland, my Emerge teacher, and telling her that I was pregnant and what should I do. I didn't want people questioning if I should run, if I could win, or for my pregnancy to be a barrier. Because let's be honest, as a woman, there are misogynistic, tropes and ideals and stereotypes against us, and we don't need any other barriers presented before us. And I'll never forget her advice and her guidance to say, Jen, put your head down and run your race. It's not an issue if you don't make it an issue. So stick to the policies, raise the money, do what needs to get done, and you'll win. And she was absolutely right. We had one of the most impactful, stellar, dynamic Emerge classes in Virginia's history. And that's what Emerge is about. Training women to run so they can hit the ground running, right? There's no need to make errors where they're not needed if you have the tools that you need in order to win. And that's what Emerge has done for women across this country. This year, I had the privilege of running for governor of Virginia. And it was a great experience, and I got to learn so much from visiting and interacting with people across our Commonwealth. And my experience has made one thing very clear. People are excited for leadership of Democratic women and eager to see what kind of leaders we can put forward for years to come. If we want paid family medical leave, if we want to increase the minimum wage, if we want paid sick days, if we want affordable childcare, then we need more women and more moms in office. Because there's a saying, if you want something done right and done well, have a woman do it. And that is why we're here. So even though the 2021 election results in my home state were not fully what we hoped for, there are still so many victories to be proud of in Virginia and in states across this country. Next year, we will be a pivotal one for America, and I'm confident that Democrats will come back even stronger in 2022. We have to hold the line, protect the women who are running for office, give them the tools that they need to win, and we can get it done. Because we know that when women run, women win. So again, thank you for being here with us tonight, and you are definitely in for a treat.
There is a shift happening.
America is changing.
By 2045, this nation and its communities will be completely transformed.
In fact, it's already begun.
We are at an inflection point.
And the rise of the new American majority
is much closer than we think.
But who are we?
Who is this new American majority?
We are not just the future.
We are the now.
Black women,
brown women,
Indigenous women,
women of color,
young women,
LGBTQ plus women,
and unmarried women who make up a growing number of this nation's population.
These are the faces of the new American majority.
We will determine the direction of this country.
It's time for our country to recognize us,
to see our power,
to hear our voice.
The truth is, we have always been here,
changing the conversation
and fighting for a brighter future.
So march with us.
Reach out to us.
Engage with us.
And follow our lead.
We are the faces of the new American majority.
The new American majority.
We are coming.
We are ready to serve.
To lead.
To advocate.
To run.
To win.
We matter because our communities deserve better.
We deserve to see ourselves reflected in the seats of power.
This is not only a moment.
This is our movement.
Our time is emerging.
And we are ready.
Oh, I love that video so much. It always gets me pumped up and ready to go. Hi, everyone. I'm Ashanti Golar, the president of Emerge. Thank you all for joining us this evening. And thank you to JCF for being our host. We just love you so much. So I'm going to spend some time with you all this evening, giving you an election briefing and doing one of my favorite things, bragging about the power of the Emerge network. I am beyond thrilled to publicly announce for the first time that Emerge has trained over 5,000 Democratic women to run for office. More than half of those alums have already run for office, and more than 1,100 Emerge alums are currently serving in elected office across the country. For 2021, we currently have a 66% win rate. We still have some races coming in, waiting to be called, and some special elections, so we know we're going to see that number increase. When we look at our alums that ran for re-election, they have an 84% win rate. Earlier this year, we celebrated Emerge alum Melanie Stansberry capturing New Mexico's 1st Congressional District special election, replacing her Emerge sister, Deb Haaland, who stepped down because she was confirmed as our first Indigenous Cabinet Secretary, where she leads the Department of Interior. In August, Mia Bonta ran to fill an open California State Assembly seat. Her win made her the first Afro-Latina to serve in the California State Legislature, and she helped set a record number of women serving as legislators in California. Those are just 2 wins of many that we had earlier this year. And of course, we had a lot to celebrate 2 weeks ago as Emerge alums won races across the country. Emerge alums continue to blaze trails and shatter glass ceilings. Tania Anderson became the first Muslim American and the formerly undocumented person elected to the Boston City Council. Sadaf Jafar won her election to the New Jersey Assembly and became one of the first API women to serve in the New Jersey State House. Previously, she made history when she was elected the first Muslim woman mayor ever in the United States. Karima Mickens made history on the local level in Connecticut by becoming the first Black woman to serve as Hamden Town Clerk. And Mercedes Evans' trailblazing candidacy in Pennsylvania helped her win a seat on the Camp Hill Borough Council. She joins just one of the few all-women municipal government councils in the state and helped deliver the Camp Hill Borough Council a Democratic majority for the first time. We are creating a lift as you climb culture as Emerge alums ascend to higher office, with other women filling the pipeline behind them. In Massachusetts, alum and Somerville City Council member Kajanya Ballantine ran and won for mayor. The seat that she was vacating was won by another alum, Judy Newfield, who is a former executive director of Emerge Massachusetts and also a former national Emerge staff member. In Bloomfield, Connecticut, Emerge alum and current council member Danielle Wong will succeed Suzette DeBeethman Brown as the town's mayor. Danielle will take office as the only Asian woman serving as mayor in Connecticut, and she's succeeding Suzette, who was the only Black woman serving as mayor during her term. And in Alexandria, Virginia, where I reside, because I just had to throw this one in, Emerge alum Elizabeth Bennett Parker moved up from vice mayor of the Alexandria City Council to state delegate. And one of the people who will be replacing her on the Alexandria City Council is Emerge alum Aaliyah Gaskins. I love the fact that I get to say that I am represented by Emerge women. At Emerge, we wake up every day to repower political structures. Building infrastructure means that our legislative bodies will look more like the people that they represent. One of my favorite quotes comes from Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. She says, "You can't pull transformation." And Emerge Massachusetts alums have been transforming the Boston City Council for over a decade. Since 2008, Emerge Massachusetts has been training women to run for office. And over the years, more and more Emerge Massachusetts alums have been elected to the Boston City Council. It all started in 2009, when Emerge Massachusetts founding board member and now current Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley became the first woman of color elected to the council. She was then followed by councilors and now mayor-elect Michelle Wu in 2013, Andrea Campbell and Anissa Asabi George in 2015, Lydia Edwards in 2017, Liz Breeden and Julia Mejia in 2019. And as I mentioned earlier, we welcome Tania to the Boston City Council. She's also being joined by her Emerge sister, Erin Murphy. So let me tie all of that together for you. After this year's election, there are now 4 Emerge alums on the City Council, with women holding a majority of the City Council seats, with another Emerge alum serving as mayor of Boston. And with Michelle's historic candidacy, she's the first woman of color elected mayor of Boston, and she'll be the first Asian mayor. What this tells us is that even though 4 women of color stepped off the Boston City Council to run for mayor this year, the new council will still be majority women and people of color. The openings on the council created space for other women and people of color to run for office and win. To see the governing body there transform over the years is really a model to what Emerge can build in other places across the country. Now, let's talk a little bit about 2022. We all know we are going to have to fight to protect our Democratic majority in Congress. Emerge currently has 4 alums who are serving, and 3 of them, Congresswoman McBath, Spanberger, and Schreier, all face tough re-election challenges and are on the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee's frontline list of seats we need to protect. These women have been fighters for all of us on issues from healthcare to gun violence, defense and security, and of course, COVID aid and protections. We also know women still make up less than 30% of the seats in Congress. So losing these seats will also impact women's representation in Congress. In order to truly change the face of power, we have to make sure that people can vote. Emerge currently has 4 secretaries of state serving across the country: Katie Hobbs in Arizona, Shinna Bellows in Maine, Shamia Fagan in Oregon, and Jenna Griswold in Colorado, who is also the head of the Democratic Association of Secretaries of State. So when we say Emerge alums lead, they lead. These Emerge alums are protecting this vital right that currently is under attack by the GOP at every level. During the 2020 and 2021 elections, our Democratic Secretaries of State worked to safeguard our political institutions and push back against dangerous falsehoods about mail-in voting. They spoke out to ensure that every citizen's voice would be heard at the ballot box. Now and into the future, these women will be instrumental in safeguarding our rights and ensuring that everyone has the right to vote. Our next graphic also shows key offices that play an important role in protecting the right to vote. Every year, state legislature elections happen. Emerge alums have been an important part of creating majority woman state chambers and increasing women's representation in state houses. Some of our key victories include reclaiming Democratic majorities in the Maine and Oregon state houses, flipping the New Mexico State House to Democratic control, flipping the Colorado, Maine, and Connecticut state senates, establishing the first majority woman state legislature in my home state of Nevada, turning the Colorado, Oregon, New Mexico state houses to majority woman, and ending the Republican supermajority in the Georgia State Senate, just to name a few of the things that we have done over the past 16 years. When it comes to redistricting, we saw from the 2020 census results that the country's population is shifting and our communities are becoming much more diverse. At Emerge, we are making sure that we have a focus on the new American majority, Black, Brown, and Indigenous women, women of color, LGBTQ women, young women, and unmarried women, who will all be a majority of the population by 2045. Texas gained 2 congressional seats, and Oregon and Colorado gained 1 seat with redistricting. And all of them are states where Emerge has affiliates. This population change has scared those in power, as we can see, driving them to cheat and gerrymander their way into safe districts that, frankly, will dilute, pack, or fracture the vote of communities of color. Redistricting will have an impact on how races are ran and potentially who wins these elections. 13 states have finalized their redrawn congressional maps. Other states are deep in the process, like California and Florida, both releasing the first draft of their maps last week. Overall, Republicans control the drawing of many more districts than Democrats do. Some of these maps may face court challenges, such as the 2 already filed in North Carolina, asserting that the redrawn map is partisan or racially gerrymandered, which facts. And our next graphic shows why redistricting should be important to everyone. At the end of the day, this is where we stand overall. There's absolutely no way for me to sugarcoat this. This is our reality. Democrats must not only hold our majorities, we must expand them. Republicans only need control of 4 more state houses. Let me repeat that. Republicans only need control of 4 more state houses before they have the numbers needed to be able to call a constitutional convention. But it's not just about the state houses. Trifectas are really what Republicans are going after. When they have control of the governorship and both state legislative chambers, they can pick their voters and have absolute control for decades to come. We have an opportunity in the South to break up these trifectas, which is why we focus expanding the Emerge network to the South and investing in women candidates. State houses are where our Emerge women shine. This is also where the new American majority can do the work to protect our collective rights. This is why we need you to invest in the work that we do. Nevada didn't happen in a day. Boston didn't happen overnight. Emerge women, they know how to win. We need to continue to build the pipeline. Emerge works. And to continue to do this work, we need you in our movement. And now I am so excited to introduce 2 women who I am so happy that we have in our movement: Emerge alum Lateefah Simon and Congresswoman Barbara Lee.
Thank you so much. I know the light is a little crazy where I am, but Congresswoman Lee, can you see me?
I see you.
Oh, I love your. Well, let me try to work it out a little bit. I love your purple. I love your purple. So we only have a few minutes, and for folks who are watching, everyone knows that Barbara Lee is my hero. I am an Emerge alum, but I also had the opportunity to be taught by the Congresswoman, who is amazing. And as you all know, but she was also a professor, also a Mills alumni. And so I get an opportunity to talk to you a little bit tonight, Congresswoman, about not only the importance of young women, women of color, mothers running for office, but really about the future of the democracy. I mean, that's a big question, but let's talk a little bit about how it's been in Congress for you the last year and what we should be looking out for. And then let's talk about your mentorship.
Wow. Well, first, it's wonderful to see you. And yes, Lateefah, you are the epitome of what a Mills alumni is all about. And I'm so proud of you, first of all. And I want to thank you for your service on the BART board, what you're doing to help so many people who would not have access to transportation, wouldn't have access to housing, wouldn't have access to all of the quality of life issues that they so deserve. I mean, you've been a champion all your life. And so I'm really proud to have played a small part in helping you just take that next step.
A huge part, excuse me.
So, but this is what it's all about. It really is. So every time I see you and have a chance to be with you, I feel like, good, it's working. And
it is.
It is just really remarkable. And so this has been, I'm in DC, hunkered down as always. And it's been, since January 6th, of course, the threats and the dangers are even greater. And then today, this man in Congress, Representative Gozar, threatened Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio, AOC, with, I don't know if you all know about that. Yeah, you should, putting up a cartoon of him assassinating her and threatening the president. And with AOC, she has a lot of threats, a lot of issues she has to deal with, like a lot of women of color. And this man threatened her. And so we had to censure him and take him off of the committees because he's very dangerous. And so we're dealing with a lot of just real physical security issues in terms of some of our colleagues who think that they can speak hate, that they can put up videos and cartoons, think it's fun, making fun of people, thinking that it's okay to show what they want to do to someone in terms of trying to kill them and then laughing at it. And so we've had to deal with all that today.
Well, let's talk about that a little bit, Congresswoman, because, when I first learned about your service, I was a very, very young woman. And seeing you on, if you're from the Bay Area, Channel 2 in the morning, seeing you in front of Congress making one of the most courageous votes in the history of the United States Congress that was on sort of the moral viability to not use violence as a way of solving hard issues. You are no stranger to being a woman of color, being a mother, a single mother, running for office again and again, despite the death threats, despite folks telling you maybe it wasn't your time. As an Emerge alum, we use you as a case study consistently. Every class learns about Congresswoman Barbara Lee. When you are told no, that actually means yes. Talk to us a little bit about why you continue to mentor women like me and AOC. I mean, I can go on and on. Congresswoman Presley. What's that been like, and what's the importance now of the Emerge moment? We need more women in Congress. We need more women in the Senate. We need more women on the school board, more women running transit agencies. Why now more than ever? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Now more than ever, because guess who's messed up the world? And guess who can change the world for the better? Guess who can transform this world so that our children and future generations will inherit a planet, first of all, that where they can breathe and drink clean water and have a healthy environment. I mean, so this is about women taking over. It really is. We see who has not been able to do this. And so this is the moment for women to really use your power, see your power, and know your power. And it's important that women, in spite of all the challenges, run for public office, do what you think where your passion leads, regardless of what they tell you, regardless of the challenges. If that's what you want to do, then do it. And, Dr. Maya Angelou, her poem, "And Still We Rise," it's like, come on, women, and as a single mom, raising 2 kids, had been in a terrible situation, a battered woman, domestic violence for several years that I had to deal with, public assistance, raising 2 kids on SNAP and Medicare and all of Medi-Cal and all of the issues that so many young women have to deal with today, just trying to make it day to day. But you know what? Use those experiences to say, I don't want any other woman. I don't want any other man. I don't want anyone to go through what I went through, because these were systemic issues. These were issues that we just haven't dealt with in America. And so use your experiences to make life better for someone else. And so that's what I did. I figured, and when I was in the state legislature, people couldn't understand why I authored so many bills on domestic violence. And I was there when Pete Wilson was there. He signed about 10 of my bills into law, a Republican governor. And I carried the Violence Against Women's Act when I was in the state legislature that the current president led on in Washington, but each state had to craft their own. Well, I crafted California's VAWA Act. And in reflecting, when I wrote my book, I was thinking, as I wrote, I said, wait a minute, what inspired you to do that? And I remembered I was a battered woman,
yeah,
a victim of domestic violence. So, as hard as it is sometimes for women, especially low-income women and women of color, just to make it through the day, just know that there are those of us fighting to change the policies of this country, so it won't be just having to make it through the day, but right now trying to make sure you have resources for childcare, make sure you have resources for good quality housing, for healthcare. So those of us now who are in the mix, like Lateefah, fighting each and every day, we're fighting so that your lives can be better. And then once you get there to where you can manage without having so much trauma day to day, then it's really time to help others and try to change the world. And that's what women can do, change the world. And I really, in my soul and in my heart, believe that it's going to be women who are going to do that.
There's so much about your service that's us Emerge, the current Emerge women who are literally in training right now, and the alumni know is that you refuse to back down, one. And two, the servant leadership is so deeply in your heart. For those of you who don't know, Congresswoman is flying back from DC to Oakland weekly. And she's at meetings that many local officials believe they're too busy for. We see you from, the prayer house to the wash house to the barbershop. And, in my years knowing you, you are always there. You pick up the phone, whatever fight is happening, whatever's happening. And like, even in my personal life, when my husband passed away, your office sent flowers. How are you so tapped in? There's only 24 hours in the day. How do you do this? And what would you tell the other Emerge women? Like, how do you get it all together?
Well, being a woman, and especially being a Black woman, you just do it. You just get it all together, because that's our lives. And so for me, it's a juggling act. I mean, Lateefah, raising 2 small boys as a single mom, that was good preparation for what I'm doing now. We have to do so many things. We have to not micromanage, but we have to do everything that we can do in terms of time management. We have to organize our time in a way and just juggle and do it. And I find that we have more in us than what we know.
That's right.
Sometimes challenges that force us to realize our power, our strength. And of course, we have to take time for self-care, and we have to take time for our personal lives, because that's what gives us what we need to do all this public stuff. So I would say, always make sure you have your personal and private life together, and your family and that foundation. And then you will soar. You will be able to do anything in the world that you set out to do. And I really believe and know for a fact that women can do that. And for me, by profession, I'm a psychiatric social worker, and I feel everyone's pain when they're suffering. And so my staff is a phenomenal staff, and they know if someone passes away or if someone is sick or if families are having problems, well, I'm not start passing legislation here in Washington or fighting with these terrorists or these, folks that we have to deal with. I mean, I love people. I want to let people know that I feel their pain. And even though I may not be there all the time to be with them, but they have to just know I'm there. And I really think that we have to always remember the personal challenges that others have, the pain, and empathize and know that, and let other people know that you know them personally and you care about them and you love them, even if you're doing all the stuff that we do, Lateefah.
As we close, I just, wake up every day and I think about how difficult things are. And as a young elected woman, as a single mom, I consistently think about you. I love you so much. And you said at one point, it was years ago, it was actually to my Emerge class, 2009, you said a woman's place is behind the dais. And I think about that in my hardest moments when I'm reading the big board books and when I'm trying to draft legislation or a resolution. We just love you. The women of Emerge America, we just salute you. Many more years with your leadership. You set the bar so high, and we are going to continue to try to climb it along with you. Thank you, Congresswoman.
Well, let me tell you, Stephen, thank you so much, but I love you and I love the women of Emerge. And I want to just say, I was the graduation speaker in San Francisco at the very first Emerge class, okay? Now, and I want to salute Emerge because I think there may have been one woman of color in that graduating class, maybe. And of course, I had to say a few words to a few people. I had to kind of say, nah, we got to do a little bit better. Look at what Emerge has emerged into, where we have phenomenal African-American women leading Emerge. We have women who have been through Emerge now, who are women of color, who have been elected to office. And so I just have to salute you and Emerge and the leadership of Emerge and all of our Emerge students and mentors and mentees, because Emerge has come a long way in terms of just racial equity and inclusion of women of color in this whole process of making sure that women are prepared to change the world.
And we're doing it with you lighting the way. So much love, so much props. Ashanti, back to you. Thank you. Barbara Lee speaks for all of us. Have a good night, Congresswoman.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See here. Doing.
Good evening, everyone. I am Aisha Mills, and I am so excited to be here with all of the awesome women of Emerge to talk about what just transpired in our last political cycle and where we go from here. I have with me, I think I'm doing the introductions here. I have Celinda Lake, who is pollster extraordinaire. I know that for at least, I'm going to say a generation and date myself, we have followed Celinda's data and work, and it's always been really monumental in helping us get to the right outcomes. And we also have with us Delegate Hala Ayala, who ran for lieutenant governor, which I want to hear all about that race. With us tonight too. And I just want to first start off by saying, look at where we are right now. Sometimes I think, at least I have been in isolation in COVID, and I forget, we came off of Donald Trump, and I just forget the power and the energy in gathering with Democratic women, with our people. So I just hope that we're all just feeling the energy of this moment and all these great conversations. I just want to start off by inviting you both to just weigh in on how the 2020 elections went. And what do you think, about how the election cycle went, and more importantly, what we can improve upon as we go into 2022? And I'll start with Celinda.
Oh, well, thank you so much. And it's really, really an honor to be here. And despite a very tough election year and a very tough election cycle. One of the things that went right was how many Emerge candidates ran and the diversity of those candidates. And one of the best things that went right was Delegate Hala Ayala running, and my business partner, Josh Ulibarri, very, very proud to be her pollster, and I'm proud to have been a supporter, and just an absolutely amazing leader who ran better than everyone talks about the top of the ticket, but who ran better than the top of the ticket, but obviously faced a tremendous tsunami on election day. I think there are 3 lessons out of the elections, and I'm really interested in hearing the delegates' perceptions and discussing this further. One is that we had record high turnout, but Democratic women faced, and Democrats in general faced supercharged Republicans. So we got a very sobering answer to the question, could Donald...
Oh, did we lose Celinda?
I think so.
We're going to wait for her to unpause, and I want you, Delegate, to jump into this because these supercharged Republicans, boy, were really something. Tell us about your experience last cycle.
Well, this last cycle, just passed.
Celinda, we're coming back to you. Hold on.
Okay. No, do you want to just go to Celinda? Or
No. Please finish.
Absolutely. Well, this was one of those cycles where, I agree with Celinda, while we didn't get the results we wanted, I was so proud of the campaign we ran. We received 13,000 more votes than the top of the ticket and ran a campaign that was focused on real issues. Thank you. Impacting working families. Now, we have a lot of work to do in Virginia. Virginia was, at one point, I think, nationally perceived as a blue state, where we were a bellwether state. And traditionally, whoever held the White House, Virginia's state house, would go the opposite direction. So we always knew that this was going to be a close race. But I think it was death by 1,000 cuts, right? It wasn't just one thing. But women were at the forefront of this conversation for sure. So, would love to dig in deeper, but would like to just yield my time over to Celinda.
Celinda, you were giving us the top 3 lessons. What were you saying?
So the first lesson is we had record high turnout, but they had supercharged turnout. And we found out, and it's a sobering lesson for 2022, that they can mobilize the Trump vote without Trump coming into the state or being on the ticket. And that's a really scary lesson for 2022. The second thing we learned is that about 2/3 of the difference in the vote was turnout, and about 1/3 was defecting Biden voters. And I think it hurt us that we were not able to pass the infrastructure bill or the Build Back Better before the election. And voters are really looking for people who can get things done. And these very conservative Republicans run around like Mr. Rogers, including with the red sweater, and look like moderate on top and really right-wing underneath. And they have quite an agenda. And they're running very diverse tickets. In 2018, when we had a really good year for women, including in Virginia, they didn't run any women. They figured out that Attila the Hun and Anna the Hun could be equally right-wing, and they're running a lot of women and a lot of people of color and have very diverse tickets now, and voters don't know the difference. They don't know the records. So that is a very scary proposition. And then we know that, the delegate really proved it, our women can raise money, but we've got to even more expand the money that they have. And I think we should all make a resolve, because I hope that the delegate is going to run for future offices and all the way to the top, in my opinion. We got to make sure that our women are introduced to big money. Virginia doesn't have any limits. The delegate was raising money in $100,000 checks, which is very different for Emerge alum and for women. And we got to introduce her. We have Emerges in Florida and New Jersey and New York and California. We got to make a commitment that we make sure that our Emerge candidates from all over the country in the next year meet these high donors everywhere, so that they can raise even more money and have more power in their states and on their tickets. So I'll turn it back, Aisha, to your questions and additional comments.
I would just love to add, Aisha, if I can.
Yeah.
I I received the nomination. I was the first woman of color on the Democratic ticket to ever received, as an Afro-Latina, Black woman, brown woman, to receive the first Democratic nomination in a statewide race ever in the history of Virginia. We're the oldest legislative body in this country. Additionally, I raised $6 million, more than any lieutenant governor candidate. But the one thing I will add about the turnout is that Democratic turnout was high thanks to the work that the General Assembly did, making it easier to vote. Virginia was almost dead last at one point, and now we're 12th in the United States for voting rights. So the Republicans did capitalize on early voting, and all of the wonderful hosts. But we as Emerge Women, we can, definitely, the cream rises to the top. And we are capable. So the work that your donors are doing tonight to support Emerge America and the women that are running for office. I told a counterpart earlier today when I was on another Zoom that early money makes all the difference because one, it takes longer to raise money and it takes us longer to break through with our messaging.
I would love, Delegate, if you could share with folks, we talk about the semantics of politicking, right? The raising the money, the knocking on the doors, the getting people to turn out. But the truth is that I think what makes us different as women is that we also are connected to the human aspect of public service. And if you could share with us a bit about how this campaign moved you, shaped you, just personally impacted your spirit and the way that, you move forward in your leadership, that would be great.
Well, I was all in from day one. I came out of a 7-person primary and won by 80,000 votes. I have grown up in the Obama era. 2008, I started campaigning and working my free time on volunteering because when I heard the words, "Yes, you can," I wanted to know that I could, that my Black children could, and that women of color could rise to the top of leadership, although I didn't see it. So, Michelle Obama was sort of our, leader, even though we had President Obama. And then, you'd look to other leaders that were also leading the way, like Oprah Winfrey, Maya Angelou, and so many more. And of course, our wonderful women in Congress who are definitely making their stake and making impressions on young minds and future young leaders. So the seeds that were planted for my future and my opportunity are on the backs of women who have been fighting the good fight, not only for voting rights, but access to leadership positions and all levels of government. And we are now just seeing these breakthroughs. So run, Emerge Women, run. My spirit is fine. I'm not done yet. I hold my earring. We're ready in. We're here for the fight.
Yes.
So we've got more work to do here in Virginia. And as I said earlier, we were considered a blue state, which is a misnomer. We are definitely a bellwether state. And we always have to make sure that we turn out the right vote.
Celinda, the ringing of the bell, the Republicans rang the race card as hard as they could. It is their playbook. They go into the muck. We lost, I think, so much on critical race theory because I wasn't there on the ground, but I wonder if there are any lessons that you can share for us and just kind of a charge that you can give us of what we should be thinking about in the future, given that they run headfirst into bias, bigotry, ignorance, racism, white nationalism. And I don't know that the Democrats have a counter for that. So tell us, what should we be thinking about as we look ahead to future elections, knowing what their playbook is?
So I think that maybe pollsters think in threes. I think there are three things we need to do. The first thing we need to do is get our vote out. And Virginia worked really, really hard at this. But we saw at the very end some diminishing of support among younger women, women under 50, both in terms of their desire to vote and their margin for Democrats. And their margin half, we still won them, but we won them by a lot less than we had won them in the past. That was deadly for our candidates, deadly for our women candidates. And they ran a broader education narrative as well as the race card. Secondly, it's up to the women voters. In Virginia, basically, we lost because we won women, but by less than we lost men by. We need to win women voters by more than we lose men by. And that's going to be the formula for 2022. And then thirdly, I think that we need to understand the whole, how much they are playing the race card And we need to be really, really aggressive in our responses. And we actually have a really good answer on CRT. People agree overall, and the president has said this, we ought to teach our kids the truth. We need to teach them the good and the bad so they have the brightest future possible. And people are like, yes, they're at hello on that. It's really unfortunate that Terry McAuliffe made the unfortunate statement and didn't respond faster on it. There are only 14% of the people who think that parents should not play a role in their children's education. Heck, I don't even have children, and I think parents should play a role in children's education. So we have to be really aware of what they are doing and how they are running layered campaigns, one campaign overall and a more racial campaign underneath. We have to be swift and strong in our response. We need to get to women voters. We need to be competing with them in social media.
We only have a couple minutes left, but I would love for you both to address the how in that, because as Celinda just outlined, we are not going to win if we keep losing women. And the truth is that Democrats keep losing white women left and right for whatever reason. And so, Delegate, you have been campaigning and meeting people on the ground for years. How do we connect with white women, frankly, white, moderate, conservative women, and bring them along, given that we are women and have something in common?
Well, I have a duality and I'll keep that to myself, but Black women have been carrying the water. Now we're carrying the message. Get us to run for, that's the way I, feel about it. So we have been working, we are the base of the Democratic Party. And I think what happened is that Republicans weaponized messaging on race and class. Even though Donald Trump was not on the ballot, his policies were on the ballot. And our focus is going to have to be messaging that conversation to all voters, right? What does this party stand for? And remind voters what we're voting for. And we have to make it clear to voters that we're the party of democracy, that we delivered the Voting Rights Act. We have delivered, works, for labor rights, human rights, civil rights. All of these rights were not the rights delivered by the Republican Party. So reminding our voters what to vote for. And when we're talking about women, especially emerged women, in this past election, it was again clear that the economy and working families were on the forefront. It was clear that we were seeing something at the forefront of everyone's mind. It was multifaceted. Economic issues, education, reproductive rights. But this is going to become more important as we continue to emerge from the aftermath of this election. White women were the largest voting bloc, to your point, to swing the Biden to Youngkin votes. So we need to talk about these policies that help support globally women and the economy and work, paid family leave, paid sick leave, universal pre-K. Women are the best messengers of this conversation.
Closing words, Celinda?
Just two things that I would underscore that the delegates said. We need to talk to women where they live at the kitchen table. We need to not talk macroeconomics, but microeconomics, the price of milk, the price of eggs, the price of steak, the price of gas, your kid getting a shot to go to school. And these are the things that the emerged women, I think, are phenomenal at. And then we need to get the record out. There are 31% of the voters today who think that the Republicans voted for the rescue plan. Not one Republican voted for the rescue plan. We should not have any Republican get away with voting against the bipartisan infrastructure bill and showing up for the ribbon cutting ceremony of the new bridge. So we have to elevate the contrast here. And I think Emerge's training and Emerge candidates are phenomenal in both relating to candidates and setting up the contrast.
Yes. Oh, wow. I wish that we could keep our conversation going, but to both of you, thank you so much. Emerge, thank you for having us to come and be a part of this important conversation. And shout out to all the Emerge candidates who run, because I think that there is absolutely winning in running, no matter what the outcome is. So shout out to everybody who continues to take the leap. And I will turn it back over to Ashanti. Who am I turning it over to?
It's over to me.
Thank you. And kudos to you. You're doing an amazing job.
All right. Thank you so much. What an amazing panel. What a great conversation. It's really going to take Democrats working together to build a better future for us all. And I hope all of us will be here to realize that vision. I'm so inspired by the voices we've heard here tonight and excited to hear more about how we can build this lasting movement. But I would be remiss if I did not give a special shout out to my Emerge sister, my former seatmate and ERA co-conspirator, Hala Ayala. Let me tell you where your money is going and what you're giving to. Hala and I both ran and won in 2017 as first-time candidates, along with amazing Emerge women like Danica Rome, the first openly transgender woman to be elected and serve in any U.S. state legislative body. One of the first Latinx women, and Elizabeth Guzman, to run and win. Kathy Tran, one of the first AAPI women to ever run and win. That is what the type of women that Emerge produces. And together we passed the Equal Rights Amendment, making Virginia the 38th and final state needed to enshrine women's equality into the United States Constitution. We passed Medicaid expansion, where over 600,000 Virginians now have access to affordable health care. We increased the minimum wage, reduced the Black maternal mortality rate, and we did it because women ran and women won. And we know better policies are put in place and women and families are uplifted in a real way. And this year, with the support of amazing Emerge women like President Ashanti Golar, who always answers and give inspiring, encouraging words to women who call, especially like me in the late hours when it gets tough, and helps us fundraise and get the resources that we need to win. Co-founder Andrea Steele, who is amazing, also helping to help us resource and finance these tough races, but who always there to lend advice and a helping hand. And of course, trainers like Julie Copeland, where none of us would be where we are if it wasn't for her leadership and her lasting legacy of ensuring we had the tools that we needed in order to make it happen. So Hala ran for lieutenant governor this year. I ran for governor this year, changing the landscape and possibilities of what is really possible for women and women of color. So this is an example of what type of women Emerge produce. This is what you're giving to. Other orgs talk about it, but Emerge gets it done. That's what separates us from everyone else. And that's why we need your support and we need your help. So I want to give a special shout out to all the great supporters and donors out there, Kathleen B. and Amanda R. and Sue W. Thank you so much. Lori and Diane and Elena, Sheila, keep it up. Let's keep it going. Let's keep these donations rolling in because we need it. You know, we can't just talk about women running and winning. We have to put our money and our resources where our mouths are. And so again, I want to thank you. Since its founding, Emerge has reached Democratic women in almost every corner of our nation. This organization has trained more than 4,500 Democratic women to run for office, and there are now more than 1,000 Emerge alums currently in elected office across this country. These women are enacting real, lasting change that is making a difference in communities throughout this country. Emerge women really are the life and soul of the Democratic Party. We know that. Elections cannot be won without our vote. The work they've done to change this democracy has been invaluable in moving so many policies forward. With attacks on our very basic rights still a major threat to our country, Emerge and the women this organization trains are more important than ever. You see us every day fighting to ensure that care infrastructure is in place, because we know the majority of that workforce are women and women of color, fighting for paid family medical leave. So we don't have to make a choice between caring for ourselves and our loved ones when we fall sick or ill and whether or not we're going to get a paycheck. All of these things we have to do to uplift millions of women of girls, because we know that once we uplift women, we uplift millions of families effectively out of poverty. That's what this fight is really about. And I saw it firsthand in Virginia. Many of you with us today are supporters of Emerge already, and many of you may know the new work of Emerge and Emerge Network. Either way, I'm asking you to support for this vision and work that we're doing right now. This organization is fully funded by supporters like you. You truly make it possible to continue this invaluable work and expand our movement across the country. As Ashanti mentioned in her presentation, in order for Democrats to hold on to and build power across the country, We must be very strategic about the candidates we run and where. Training is of utmost importance, making sure that women know how to fundraise, how to make an ask. It's important that your heel height, how you're perceived, so we don't fall into the pitfalls, that we are educated and knowledgeable on what we need to do in order to run and to win. Voters are looking for candidates that excite them and move them to the ballot box. And that's what Emerge specializes in, and what your support goes towards funding. Democratic women packing the pipeline and running and winning at every level across the country. At this moment, there is so much at stake, from civil rights to the environment to our economy. We can no longer take who represents us for granted. It is not hyperbole when we say that there is a true war against women. Just look to states like Texas and Georgia and Florida. It is clear that who holds these elected positions will determine our collective future for generations to come. In the next 15 years, Emerge has some ambitious goals to reach 100,000 women of the new American majority, foster a culture of lift as you climb, and repower political structures. Next, we will hear from Mayor London Breed and Emerge Board Trustee Gretchen Schochenstein, who have an exciting announcement. Please take it away.
Mayor London Breed, and a proud Emerge California alum.
And I'm Gretchen Schoenstein, the first Executive Director of Emerge California, founding member of the Emerge National Board and current board trustee. Emerge has played a transformative role in shaping the face of politics. As the most successful recruitment and training program for Democratic women running for office, we create this space and the opportunity for Democratic women to be catalysts for change. Right now, over 1,000 Emerge graduates are in office. I've known London since 2008, when she went through the Emerge training program and I was the executive director. Mayor Breed's trajectory is what Emerge is all about, and it happened in San Francisco, where the Emerge journey started. Today, it is our honor to introduce the Breed Schoenstein Justice Scholarships. These scholarships will help make sure more women who represent the incredible diversity of our communities have the opportunity to participate in Emerge programs. These women who make up the new American majority are ready to lead, and Emerge is set on reaching 100,000 of them to continue recruiting and training candidates who will become public servants dedicated to a more just and equitable America.
Across the country, Black, Brown, Indigenous women, women of color, as well as LGBTQ+, young and unmarried women are building diverse, hardworking coalitions and shaping our nation. These are the new American majority women who are playing a critical role in the political process and determining the direction for change. During the past election cycles, women got the vote out and invested time and resources into protecting the right to vote. Women made sure communities felt heard at the polls.
London, I could not be more thrilled to be doing this with you. Young women have been some of the most exciting candidates on the ballot in recent years and have led activism and advocacy that have been pivotal in shifting our nation's attitudes on some of our most pressing issues. These scholarships will help level the playing field and ensure more named women will take the next step in running for office.
New American majority women are making a difference, and now it's time to help them break barriers and become elected leaders. Running for office is an experience, one that can be expensive and challenging. All women should have access to training, advice, and resources they need to win elections without the financial burden. The Breed Shorenstein Scholarships will provide opportunities for women of the new American majority to participate in the Emerge program free of charge. I want to thank our generous supporters who made this possible.
In fact, $10,000 of what is raised tonight will go towards the Justice Scholarships, and I will be the first to pledge $1,000 for this effort. It has been a true honor working with Emerge program members and alums across the country. In Emerge's next chapter, women of the new American majority will be front and center, and the Breed Shorenstein Justice Scholarships will help fuel and turbocharge their trailblazing candidacies. NAM women continue to break barriers at the local, state, and national levels and help pave the way for women like them to follow in their footsteps and win. This is a trend we must see every cycle.
When more women are at the decision-making table, the closer we get to removing the barriers that women running for office face. These scholarships will provide the foundation for making that happen and ensuring that no Democratic woman is left behind. Thank you for your continued commitment to Emerge and the vision of a more equitable and just country. Together, we will build a brighter future for everyone.
My name is Amy Pearl, and I'm a proud member of Emerge's National Board of Directors. I'm here today to present an honor to my good friend and one of Emerge's most treasured supporters, Lori Woods. I've known Lori since 2014, since we helped start a political giving circle to support women running for office. We knew that when women have the support that they need, they win elections at the same rate as men. Lori has been a strategic investor and ongoing steward for Emerge since 2015 because of her passion for electing more women to office at all levels of government. Lori has made visionary investments in Emerge. She provided seed money to kickstart new state affiliates in 2015. In 2016, she provided the funding for Emerge to hire its first two DC-based staff, Ashanti Golar as political director and communications director Allison Abney. These were game-changing hires for Emerge during a critical election of 2016, and then, unbeknownst to us, after the election, when women were furious about the results, we were flooded with women wanting to run for office. We also didn't know how visionary that investment would be when a few years later, Ashanti has stepped up to be president of Emerge to train a new generation of women in new American leadership positions. Lori continues to make impactful contributions to Emerge, and we are incredibly grateful to her ongoing partnership. I could not be more pleased about this opportunity to honor Lori Woods.
Thank you, Amy, and thank you so much to Emerge. This is such an honor to be given this recognition. When I learned about Emerge in 2015, I knew this organization was a really good fit for my values. I'm very motivated to see more women in office, and I like investing in long-term growth and success of women's leadership. All of you are so badass, and I so am happy to be supporting this organization, and I look forward so much to seeing what the future brings. Thank you so much, Amy. Thank you, Emerge.
So a huge Texas-sized thank you to Lori Woods and Amy Pearl for their long-standing and ongoing support for Emerge. Lori is truly an incredibly visionary partner of Emerge, and the success of our organization is, in large part, due to the generosity of donors like her and like you. My name is Brianna Carmen, and I am the brand new political director here at Emerge. As you just heard, visionary investors like Lori provided the seed funding for positions like mine so that Emerge could expand and build our communications, our political, our development, and our affiliate teams. We are 100% funded by you. donors who have provided integral backing for us to, continue our work across the country to train Democratic women at every single level of government. Delegate Carroll Foy announced earlier that, a very generous donor has offered to match every single dollar tonight up to $50,000. And we are coming towards the ends of our program, but I believe we can get there. Look at this thermometer. We are so close to that match. And please remember that no donation is too small or too large. As Mayor Breed and Gretchen Schoenstein said, $10,000 of what's raised tonight will go directly towards the Breed Schoenstein Justice Scholarships. And there are so many other ways that your support tonight can help make a difference in the 2022 elections. I look forward to seeing what we can accomplish together next year and beyond. Thank you.
All right, this has been a fantastic event. I want to thank everyone for joining. Thank you, Ashanti Golar, for being the leader that we don't deserve, but we so desperately need. I want to thank the host committee. I want to thank you all for being here, the alums for redefining politics. Let's be clear. The work that Emerge does is so vital to the future of this country, and the results of this year's election prove that we need more of this work going forward to make real progress. There is incredible change that is being made from coast to coast, and this organization is on the forefront of a movement that will change the face of power in this country. That's the end goal of the work we are trying to do here every day at Emerge. So you've heard from powerful Emerge alums and women leaders who are redefining politics and political leadership. And they continue to do the incredibly difficult work of shaping our democracy so that it is inclusive and responsive to the needs of all of its citizens. In the words of former Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, women belong in all places where decisions are being made. Let's honor her legacy and make this a lasting reality. Thank you all for joining us, and thanks to our featured guests. Thanks to our partners and sponsors, our host committee and staff for making it possible. If you haven't given, I ask that you give today. If you have given, I ask for you to give again. Please give a little more. Give until it feels good. Give until you know our women will run and win. We need to make this $50,000 match to make great things happen for women in politics across this country. Every little bit helps. So help us get there. Again, thank you to all the amazing people at Emerge. Thank you all for joining us tonight. Have a good rest of your evening, and I hope to see you in person very soon.